The Southern Capital Thesis, Beyond the Vacation State. In 2026, we have to stop looking at South Florida as a sun and sand destination. We are witnessing the birth of the Southern Capital. Historically, the United States had its financial power in New York and its tech power in Silicon Valley. Today, those lines are blurring, and they are converging right here in the golden triangle of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach. What drives the neighborhood bet at a macro level? It's the AUM migration, assets under management. Since 2023, more than $1 trillion in managed assets has moved to Florida. When firms like Citadel, Blackstone, and various venture capital funds relocate their headquarters, they don't just bring offices, they bring an entire ecosystem of high-income earners. These individuals aren't just looking for houses, they are looking for asset protection zones. By buying the cheaper house in a neighborhood like Coral Gables or Weston, you are effectively piggybacking on the relocation decisions of billionaires. You are betting that the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar fund has done more due diligence on the area's future than you ever could. This is the institutional floor, a price level below which these premium neighborhoods will likely never drop because the demand from high net worth migration is inelastic. The bright line effect, redefining the commute map. We cannot discuss the 2026 market without talking about the transit-oriented appreciation, TOA. The expansion of the Bright Line has done something revolutionary. It has decoupled the premium neighborhood from the central business district. In the past, you paid a premium to be 15 minutes from Brickell. Today, you can live in a better area in Boca Raton or Aventura and be in your office in downtown Miami or West Palm Beach in less time than it takes to drive 5 miles in traffic. This is shifting the value of land. We are seeing a value corridor forming around transit hubs. When you place your neighborhood bet near these nodes, you are betting on the state's $100 billion infrastructure plan. You are buying into a future where South Florida is a hyper-connected megalopolis. The cheaper house near a transit hub today is the high-value rental of 2030. We will analyze the price per square foot delta between properties within 1 mile of a station versus those 5 miles away. The data shows a consistent 12 to 15% premium for transit proximity that didn't exist 5 years ago. The Silicon Tropics and the tech wealth transfer. There is a phenomenon I call the tech wealth transfer. In 2026, Florida is no longer just attracting retirees, it is attracting founders in their 30s and 40s. This demographic has a different set of priorities for the neighborhood bet. They look for gigabit infrastructure. Suburbs with the best fiber optic connectivity are seeing higher appreciation. Third spaces. Proximity to high-end co-working clubs and social hubs like Soho House or private clubs. Eco-resilience. After the climate policy shifts of 2025, buyers are now paying a resilience premium for neighborhoods with advanced drainage systems and high-elevation topography. This tech-driven migration is creating micro-hubs. When you buy in an area like Little River or specific pockets of Fort Lauderdale that are being rebranded as tech suburbs, you are betting on the demographic shift. You are buying where the smart money is sleeping. We will look at the correlation between venture capital investment in Florida and the rise in median home prices in the surrounding 10-mile radius. The scarcity of land, the geographic squeeze. Finally, we must address the geographic squeeze. South Florida is a finite strip of land trapped between the Atlantic Ocean and the Everglades. We cannot build out anymore. We can only build up or renovate. This geographic reality makes the neighborhood bet a game of musical chairs. There are only so many better areas with A-rated schools and established safety records. As the population continues to surge, estimated to hit a new peak by the end of 2026, the value of the dirt in these protected zip codes becomes more valuable than the structure sitting on it. In premium neighborhoods, the LBR is often over 70%. This means when you buy that cheaper house in a better area, you are buying a piece of a finite resource. You aren't just a homeowner, you are a shareholder in the most valuable land in the country. The fundamental law, structures die, land lives. In the first hour, we talked about the map. Now, we talk about the dirt. There is a fundamental law in real estate that 90% of buyers ignore because they are distracted by fresh paint. Structure depreciates, land appreciates. Think of a house like a car. The moment the builder hands over the keys, the improvement, the physical building, begins to wear out. The roof has a 20-year lifespan. The AC has a 12-year lifespan. The water heater, the appliances, the flooring, they are all on a countdown to zero value. However, The land beneath those walls is a different animal, especially in South Florida, where we are geographically locked between the Atlantic and the Everglades. Land is a finite, non-renewable resource. When you buy the cheaper house in the better area, you are shifting your investment weight. You are putting more of your money into the appreciating asset, land, and less into the depreciating asset, building. This is the secret to why the ugly house in Coral Gables often outperforms the mansion in a remote suburb over a 10-year period. The 2026 replacement cost analysis. To understand the neighborhood bet, you have to understand what it costs to build in 2026. We are currently facing an inflation floor. Between labor shortages in Florida and the rising cost of sustainable hurricane-proof materials, the cost to build a high-quality home has hit an all-time high. If you buy a brand new house for $1.5 million in an average neighborhood, a huge chunk of that price, perhaps 70%, is the cost of the materials and labor. You are paying a premium for the newness. But if you buy an older, cheaper house in a premium area for the same $1.5 million, the math flips. You might be paying $1.2 million for the land and only $300,000 for the structure. In a market correction, which one is safer? The house where the value is in the materials, which can be replicated anywhere, or the house where the value is in the location, which is unique and scarce? In 2026, the smart money is betting on the residual land value. The teardown phenomenon. Case studies. Let's look at the data from two of South Florida's most prestigious pockets, Boca Raton and Coral Gables. In 2025 and early 2026, we saw a surge in teardown sales. In areas like Old Flora in Boca or the Platinum Triangle in the Gables, 1950s ranch-style homes were selling for $2 million plus. These buyers weren't crazy, they were calculating the residual value. They knew that the 15,000 square foot lot in that specific zip code was worth $1.9 million on its own. The house was essentially free. By buying the worst house, they secured the land at a price that would be impossible to find empty. They then have the option to renovate, expand, or eventually rebuild. This is forced appreciation. They aren't waiting for the market to go up. They are creating value by improving the structure on top of a gold mine. Calculating residual land value. How do you know if you're making a good bet? You use the residual land value formula. Before you make an offer, you need to strip away the emotion and look at the math. Residual land value equals total purchase price minus depreciated cost of improvements. If the residual land value is high relative to the neighborhood's average lot price, you are buying a safe asset. If you are paying $1 million for a house, but similar empty lots in the area are selling for $800,000, your downside risk is only $200,000. But if you buy a $1 million house in an area where lots are only worth $200,000, your risk is $800,000. If that house burns down or the style goes out of fashion, you are exposed. This is why the better area always wins. The land provides a safety net that a building never can. Utility versus investment. Balance. Now, I know what you're thinking. Carlos, I have to live in the house. I don't want to live in a teardown. This is where the 2026 hybrid strategy comes in. We look for solid bones in elite zones. We find the house that has a functional layout and a working AC, but looks ugly or dated to the average buyer. Because it's ugly, the emotional buyers stay away. This allows us to negotiate a price that is closer to the land value. You get the lifestyle of the premium neighborhood, the schools, the safety, the parks, while your net worth grows through the roof because you bought the land right. This is how you win the neighborhood bet without sacrificing your quality of life. The 7 pillars of neighborhood. Alpha Pillar 1, school district velocity. In 2026, the data from the Florida Department of Education is clearer than ever. School ratings are the ultimate price floor. We aren't just looking at current A ratings, we are looking for velocity. Districts that are climbing from a C to a B or B to an A. When a district improves, the influx of families creates a permanent demand that is independent of interest rates. Even if you don't have children, you are buying a product that 80% of the market must have. In South Florida, neighborhoods like Davie and Cooper City have seen appreciation rates 5% higher than the state average, specifically because of their school corridor investments. You are betting on the future workforce and the families who will pay a premium to be in that zone. Pillar 2, the Whole Foods effect and retail anchors. Real estate follows retail. Large corporations like Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, or Lululemon spend millions on site selection research before they sign a lease. They know where the wealth is moving 5 years before the public does. We call this institutional validation. If a major high-end grocery store announces a new location in a transitional area, that is your signal. The neighborhood bet is placed the moment the permit is filed, not when the store opens. By the time you can buy organic kale on the corner, the property prices have already baked in that value. We track the retail footprint to find the next appreciation pocket. Pillar 3, safety, tech, and smart neighborhoods. In 2026, safety has evolved into smart security. We are seeing a surge in demand for neighborhoods that implement private license plate readers, enhanced LED street lighting, and community-wide mesh networks. Neighborhoods in Weston and Parkland have pioneered this tech safety model. Buyers are now looking at crime delta maps. A neighborhood that is statistically becoming safer through technology and community engagement is a high alpha bet. Safety isn't just a feeling, it's a measurable amenity that protects your resale value in any market condition. Pillar 4, commute resilience and the 15-minute city. The hybrid work revolution of the mid-2020s has created the 15-minute city demand in Florida. People want to be able to work, eat, and exercise within a 15-minute radius of their front door. Commute resilience means your neighborhood is not dependent on a single highway or a single office park. Areas with multiple access points to the Brightline, major interstates, and local business hubs are resilient. We analyze the walk score delta. Properties in walkable pockets are appreciating at double the rate of car-dependent suburbs in 2026. You are betting on the luxury of time. Pillar 5, rental yield density, the downside hedge. A neighborhood with high rental yield density is a safe neighborhood. Why? Because if the economy slows down, you have a plan B. If the median rent in an area covers 125% of a typical mortgage, PITI, that neighborhood has a solid floor. We look for rent-proof areas like Fort Lauderdale's Flagler Village or Aventura, where the demand for high-end rentals from the quality migration demographic remains constant. This pillar ensures that even if you don't sell, your asset remains a cash flow machine. Pillar 6, the upcoming development pipeline. To find alpha, you must look at the public records pipeline. We search for zoning variances and commercial site plans that haven't hit the news yet. Is there a new luxury marina being planned? Is a tech campus moving into a repurposed industrial zone? In 2026, we are watching the North Miami Transformation Corridor. When the city invests in infrastructure, new sewers, wider sidewalks, buried power lines, the private money follows. You want to buy the cheaper house after the city commits the capital, but before the developers finish the buildings. Pillar 7, zoning protection, the exclusivity guard. The final pillar is zoning protection. In a world of overdevelopment, a neighborhood that has strict single-family only zoning or historic designation is a gold mine. This is the scarcity play. In places like Pinecrest or Coconut Grove, you know that a 40-story apartment building won't be built next to your backyard. This low-density guarantee is what keeps prices high. You are betting on the NIMBY, not in my backyard factor. While it sounds controversial, from an investment standpoint, strict zoning is the best guardian of your long-term appreciation. The climate resilience factor, the high ground premium. As we look toward 2030, we must address the elephant in the room for Florida real estate, climate resilience. In 2026, we have moved past the debate phase and into the pricing phase. We are seeing the emergence of the high ground premium. Investors are now overlaying topography maps with property values. Neighborhoods sitting on the Atlantic Ridge, the highest elevations in the region, are seeing a decoupled appreciation rate. Areas like Ridgeview in Fort Lauderdale or parts of Little River and Upper East Side in Miami are becoming climate havens. When you place your neighborhood bet today, you aren't just betting on schools. You are betting on the long-term insurability of the asset. In this segment, we analyze the blue to green wealth transfer. We'll show how capital is moving from vulnerable waterfront properties into high-elevation, inland luxury pockets. Buying the cheaper house on high ground is the ultimate hedge for the next decade. The Golden Triangle 2.0, the megalopolis reality. By 2030, the boundaries between Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach will practically disappear. We are becoming a linear megalopolis. The neighborhood bet is no longer about being in Miami, it's about being in the infill zones. We are tracking the secondary city growth. Cities like Sunrise and Lake Worth Beach are no longer just suburbs. They are developing their own urban cores. We analyze the reverse migration, people moving away from the congested urban centers of Brickell into high-amenity, walkable suburban clusters. We will identify the golden triangle nodes where the 5-year appreciation forecast exceeds 25% due to the saturation of the coastal markets. The 2026 hidden gems, where to place the bet now. You've stayed with me for 2 hours, so here's the specific data you've been waiting for. These are the 3 hidden gems of 2026. No, North Miami, the area between Aventura and North Miami Beach. With the new commuter rail stops and the massive Sole Mia development, this is the prime transit-oriented bet. The Lake Worth Corridor, specifically the western expansion near the new equestrian-focused luxury developments. It's the Boca quality at a 30% discount, for now. Sunrise/Western Plantation, the tech hub expansion near the Sawgrass Mills corridor. We are seeing a surge in corporate headquarters moving here, creating a massive demand for standard of living housing. We will break down the price per square foot delta in these 3 areas and show you exactly which cheaper houses have the highest potential for forced appreciation through strategic renovations. The 5-year exit strategy, selling the dream. The neighborhood bet is only successful if you know when and how to exit. If you buy the worst house today, your 2030 goal is to sell the best location. By then, the neighborhood will have reached its maturity phase. The Whole Foods will be open, the schools will be A-rated, and the transit will be fully operational. You aren't selling walls, you are selling entry into an exclusive zone. We will discuss the portfolio balancing technique, taking the equity from your neighborhood bet and 1031 exchanging it into a larger multifamily asset or a trophy property. I'll show you how to market a renovated classic in a premium zone to attract the 2030 buyer who is desperate for safety and lifestyle, regardless of the interest rates. Final verdict. Why the location always wins. We conclude with the final verdict. In 2026, the mind game of real estate is more intense than ever. You will be tempted by the brand new mansion in the middle of nowhere. You will be tempted by the cheap square footage in stagnant areas. Don't take the bait. The math of the last 50 years and the projections for the next 10 all point to one truth. Land in a premium path of progress is the only true wealth generator. You buy the area, you bet on the future, and you let the market do the heavy lifting. I'm Carlos Melendez, and this is how we build legacies in South Florida. Place your bet wisely. We've covered a lot of ground today, literally and figuratively. From the high elevation ridges of the Atlantic to the tech-driven corridors of our suburbs, we've deconstructed what it means to place the neighborhood bet. But if you take only one thing away from these 2 hours, let it be this. Real estate is not a transaction, it is a time-traveling investment. You aren't buying a house for the life you have today. You are buying it for the community, the safety, and the growth you want for your family in 2030 and beyond. The walls can be painted, the kitchens can be renovated, but the alpha of a great neighborhood is a resource that only grows scarcer with time. The 2026 market moves fast, and the mind game is always evolving. If you found value in this deep dive, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We are constantly investigating new data, upcoming developments, and psychological trends that others simply aren't talking about. Following us isn't just about watching videos, it's about staying ahead of the curve. It's about being the most informed person at the closing table. Don't let your next move be a guess. Let it be a calculated bet. If you're ready to place your bet in South Florida and want a team that looks at the maps, the math, and the macroeconomics for you, reach out to us at South Florida Home Finder. We're here to turn this data into your reality. We are South Florida Home Finder Team. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your trust. And remember, to know more is to win more. Follow us, stay educated, and I'll see you in the next neighborhood.